Welcome to Bodywise Yoga and Pilates Studio, where ancient traditions meet modern science. My name is Sasha Rooney. I'm a certified Pilates instructor and a registered massage therapist. Today I will be taking you through a series to activate and target your core muscles for increased strength and improved spinal support. Make sure you've checked with your healthcare provider before beginning this series. So we'll begin by lying on our back. You want your feet hip distance apart and fairly close to the buttocks. And you can use your hands to help you lengthen your spine as you roll all the way down to your back. We'll begin with the pelvic tilt. Pelvic tilt, we just basically flatten the low back to the mat. So we'll inhale to prepare, exhaling, flattening the low back, and inhale, release. Exhale, flatten, and inhale, release. Continuing with your breath, the inhale should be through the nose, and the exhale is out the mouth. Now with the exhale, we can feel the low abdominals scoop in and up, and the navel gently draw towards the spine. The engagement of these lower abdominal muscles help to flatten the back. So make sure you're not pressing too firmly into the earth with your feet or tensing the muscles of the legs or the buttocks. Now, just to mention our different spinal alignments, we have neutral spine, where the hip bones and the pubic bone are level, or you have enough space for your wrist to slide underneath the low back. So there's enough space in between your spine and the floor for your wrist to rest there. Flat back, which is what we just did in the pelvic tilt, looks like this. Pubic bone is higher than the hip bones. Arching your back allows the pubic bone to drop lower than the hip bones and is not a common position for any Pilates exercises. It creates too much instability in the low back. So next we'll move on to our pelvic clock, which sort of takes all of the alignments for the spine and brings them into one movement. So we'll inhale, flatten our back, then drop our weight over to our right hip. Exhale when you're ready, allow the back to arch slightly, as long as there's no pain, and then the weight drops over to the left hip and back to flat. So as we get more fluid with this movement, as we're going around, you can think of the motion of a belly dancer, and you can also imagine you have a CD underneath your pelvis and you're tracing a circle. I like the motion of the belly dancer. If the back is quite tight, you'll allow the knees to move with you, so you have a little bit of help from the momentum of the legs. If everything feels quite fluid and you feel there's not too much restriction, you focus on keeping your knees more still. We'll come to our flat back position and we'll reverse the direction, dropping the weight to the left hip, arching over to the right and back to flat, and continuing, making the movement a little bit more fluid. Now generally, one direction is a lot easier than the other. It feels more natural, you have better range of motion, so don't be surprised if the directions make things feel a little bit awkward or tight, but eventually this movement will become more fluid the more you practice it. And we'll come to our flat back and then release to neutral. Now just a little mention of the breath. Breath work is very important in Pilates. The inhale is through the nose, the exhale is out the mouth. And also we're focusing on what happens with our rib cage when we breathe. People will sometimes breathe very quickly and short through their nose mostly, and that creates the chest to lift and the rib cage to arch. This is not great because it takes all of our abdominal attachments to this area and sort of overstretches them. So when we breathe in Pilates, we want to breathe more into the lateral sides of the body and the back of the body. So the breath will look and sound more like this. That forceful exhale helps to knit the ribs together and draw them down towards the hips. Improper breath would look more like this. This allows the back to arch, the rib cage to lift, and creates compression in the spine. So again, inhaling. Breathe between the shoulder blades. Exhale, try to narrow the ribs. This breath work takes a lot of practice, so don't get frustrated. Just keep checking in and practicing. We'll move on to our abdominal curl. The arms will reach up, come behind the head, and interlace the fingers underneath the skull. Now, if you have the range of motion, you'll want your elbows to press down into the earth. If they're up here, that's okay, just focus on them drawing back. Your head weighs 10 to 13 pounds, so you want to gently press your skull into your hands so you can feel the weight of the skull resting in the hands. We don't want to be lifting with our neck. Maintaining a neutral spine, feeling the weight resting on the sacrum. Elbows open wide, inhale to prepare, and exhale. Hinge from the base of the shoulder blades to come up. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Continue with your breath. When you lift, you may flatten your back. That's common. Try to keep your shoulders up in that case and correct your spine by bringing the tailbone more down towards the mat. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. We'll do 3 more. Press that head back into the hands. Keep your elbows nice and wide. And inhale, release back. Gently release your hands and allow your head to turn slowly from side to side. Let your head come back to center. Arms are resting on your mat. You're going to lift your heels, slide them in towards your buttocks. Maintain your neutral spine. With your exhale, lift your right leg to a tabletop position. Next exhale, left leg will follow. Our knee is directly over our hip and our pelvis is neutral. If you do have discomfort in your low back, you can bring your knees a little closer to your chest so that your back is in a more flat position. But if you can maintain the neutral, it's ideal. We'll take a breath to prepare. With your inhale, you'll straighten the right leg, bringing the left toes towards the ceiling. Exhale, come back to your starting point. Inhale, left toes extend. Exhale to the starting point. The inhale reaches the leg out. The exhale helps to engage the core to pull the leg back in. Now to make this harder, you start to extend the leg on more of a vertical. Exhale in. Inhale out. Exhale in. And you can get the leg fairly close to the earth as long as the pelvis remains neutral. If the back arches, you've gone too far. Inhale out. Exhale in. Inhale out. Exhale in. We're going to do 2 more to each side. Exhale, knit the ribs together. Bring your knees into your chest and just give them a little hug. You can sort of rock side to side if that feels okay. Good. Now the legs will come back to a tabletop position. Pelvis is neutral. The first step for this exercise is actually keeping the left foot down on the mat, keeping your right leg engaged. We'll take our left hand and place it about the middle part of the right thigh. Now you're going to actively press your hand into your thigh and your thigh into your hand and breathe. Just deep breathing. Maintain the pressure. We're targeting the deep spinal muscles that support the spine. And they are very internal, very deep. So you may be able to feel a little bit of engagement in your belly, deep, like there's steel rods running along your spine. And we'll release that pressure. We'll bring the right foot down and then float the left leg up. The right hand comes to the left thigh. We press the thigh into the hand and the hand into the thigh and breathe. We maintain the breath, deep exhales, knitting the ribs together. Inhale, breathe between your shoulder blades. Now your arm is reaching, but ideally your shoulder is close to the mat or resting on the mat. You're not creating tension in your neck. And gently release the pressure. Now I'm just going to go through that once more on each side. You can work with what we did with one leg up at a time, or if it's okay, you can float both legs up. Makes it a little harder. The left hand comes to right thigh and we breathe. Gently release. Right hand to left thigh. One foot down to the mat at a time, and just take a moment here to pelvic tilt, flattening the back with the exhale. Inhale, release. Exhale, flatten. Inhale, release. Now open your arms out to the side, so you're making a T shape. Your arms are in line with your shoulders, your palms are down on the earth. Slide the heels towards the buttocks, float one leg up, and exhale, the other leg will follow. Now bring your knees together. We want our knees to stay glued together and also level, so your kneecaps stay level. If the front of your thigh starts to grip and get really sore, you can allow your heels to dangle down towards your buttocks. Inhale to prepare. Keep your shoulders glued to the mat. Exhale, knit the ribs. Now with your inhale, your knees will come over towards your right as far as you can, maintaining your left shoulder on the earth. Now don't let that left knee drop lower than the right. Keep lengthening through the right and the left hip and low back. With your exhale, you'll come back to center. Inhale, knees over to the left, lengthen through the right low back. Exhale, center. We're targeting the muscles along the sides of the body, our obliques. So imagine your body twisting from its natural waistline. So the bottom of the rib cage, we're twisting from side to side. To make this a little harder, simply turn your palms up to face the ceiling. Or you can start one leg to create more of a lever, or possibly both legs. Wherever you are, make sure you're maintaining shoulders placed on the earth. The front of the thighs is working, but not gripping. And we'll do 2 more to each side. Lengthen through the top knee. Exhaling to center. Bend your knees. Give them just a little hug. You can even lift your head to deepen the stretch if that feels comfortable. Allow the head to release. Bring one foot down to the earth at a time. And once again, pelvic tilt. Feeling the front of the thighs open as the back of the body engages. The benefits of increasing your core strength are great. It gives you deeper spinal support, which helps to improve your posture and alignment. And it is very beneficial for people who suffer from chronic back pain. Thank you for taking the time to connect with your body today and joining me at Bodywise Yoga and Pilates Studio.